Have you ever struggled to make a good habit stick? Like you have a good habit, a good thing that you're starting to do on a regular basis, and then you just struggled really bad to make it stick, to keep doing it. If so, then this episode's for you, my friend. Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Here, it's all about taking full advantage of the time we have today and becoming intentional with our actions so we each can have the impact we want. If you want to stop drifting through life and start directing your life, and you're open to a short podcast from someone who's working at the exact same thing, then welcome. You're in the right place, my friend. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Mazey. To respect your time and so you can claim your day, let's dive right in. Well, hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to episode 34 of the Claim Your Day podcast. Glad you're here and joining in. Right now, we're in the middle of we're in a series all about habits. All about habits, developing those good habits that reflect your values, that resonate with who you are, and connect with your long-term goals, and so that you can make the improvements and the gains in the areas of life that's most important to you, your family, and just your goals and the life that you want to live, and having your values come through in the habits that you have on a day-by-day basis. Being intentional with those habits so that you can grow in the areas that you want to grow in. And today we're diving into a key component to help make those habits stick. If you missed any of the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check them out. There's some good things on zeroing in on the area to develop your habit, kind of how to start small with the habits, how to connect your habits and what you're trying to do with your big why, your core values, your long-term goals. And all these things add up to make habits a little bit easier to get started, a little clearer on what the habit should be for your best benefit, for your life and your values, as well as making them stick. We're going to talk about how to overcome some challenges along the way too. Today, so make sure you go back and check those out if you missed any of them, and subscribe so that way you don't miss any future episodes as well. So today, we're talking about making that habit stick. One great component, I say great because it's beneficial, it's impactful, and it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. One component that's going to help you to make those habits stick is your environment. Today we're talking about designing your environment in a way to help those habits, to help you to be successful at developing and maintaining those positive habits. And John Maxwell talks a lot about environment, and being intentional and focused, and how you craft with the situations you're in so that you can be successful. So have you ever tried to build a good habit just in an absolutely chaotic environment? Have you? Or everything just seems like it's coming at you from 6 different ways, or maybe have you ever tried to develop a good positive habit around a whole lot of people that had poor negative habits? That's tough, isn't it? Think of someone that's really wanting to eat healthy. They really want to eat healthy, and there is a boatload of junk food in their pantry. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that. Have you ever tried to eat healthier, but there's still a bunch of junk in the pantry and the fridge? Well, look, if you're anything like me, my self-control seems to wane as the day gets on. Throughout the beginning of the day and even in the afternoon, it's easy for me to say no to a bunch of junk, sugary foods, cookies, and stuff like that. But holy cow, when it gets toward the end of the day, if my environment is not set up for me to be successful, then I'm not going to be. Does it ever feel like your environment is sometimes working against you? Like if you were just in a better environment, a better situation, if there were better things around you, then it'd be a whole lot easier for you to do the things that you're trying to do. Well, if you ever felt like that, I gotta say, you are not alone, my friend, because the environment has a profound impact on what we do and how we live and the choices we make. So today I want you to zero in and focus in on how powerful and beneficial it could be for the habits that you need for your life, for you to intentionally design your physical and mental environment, so that it can significantly increase your chances of your habits being successful, so that you can start them, maintain them, and sustain them over time, so that you can live that life that you want to live, so that you can act in a way that's aligned with your core values, your long-term goals, and you can live them out fully in your life, and have that and fulfill that purpose and that impact that you want by developing the habits that will help that to be true, and your environment can help that habit be successful. So there's a lot of great things that we can use from our environment. There's a lot of great things that we can use from our environment, and when we're intentional about it, design that environment, things we add, things we take away. When we're intentional with our environment, man, it's going to make it so much easier for you to do the habits that you want. It's still going to be work. It might not be easy, but it'll be easier. And one of the first ways that you can do this is by using cues and triggers. See, the environment can actually cue you to do certain things. Now, it can be in a positive way or a negative way. Like if I open the freezer and the first thing I see is a tub of ice cream, well, that's going to be a negative cue, trigger, temptation, everything for me to get that ice cream and eat it. But interestingly, if I take the ice cream out of the inside freezer and I put it in the garage freezer, and I take a big bag of frozen mango chunks, and I put it dead center in my inside freezer in my kitchen. Then when I open it up and I see mango, I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I can have some mango. That's okay. That's cool. It's a nice treat. It's just that. Now, obviously, there's bigger things that you can do, but this is a simple one. It's when what you have access to and what you see, is it helping you to make that positive choice that you should make for you and your values and what's important to you? Or is it going to steer you away to making a choice that you don't want, that you shouldn't make that choice? How can you design your environment to add in good positive triggers and maybe remove some of the other ones? Well, this kind of leads right into the next point, and it's about reducing friction. So if you make something easier, then obviously it's easier to do. That's obvious. But what the real impact is that sometimes we discredit the value of making things easier. Like for me, this is one of the things that I do. I have my gym bag is packed and in my truck almost at all times. So if I load the family up and we're going to go do something, then 99% of the time I got to go to the truck and get my gym bag out and throw it in the garage. It's something I have to do. But by having that in my truck ready to access at any day of the week, hey, I can take a lunch break, run to the gym, get right back real quick. It's so easy and it's ready to go. By doing that, what I've effectively done is I've reduced the friction for me to maintain that habit of exercising during my lunch break. That's all it is. It doesn't go to the gym for me. I still have to do the work. I still have to get over that hump. But it's one less excuse. It's already taken care of. It has reduced the friction. So reducing the friction. Another thing that I do is I want to drink a glass of water first thing when I get up in the morning. Helps my brain to start working and the rest of my body start working too. But and so that's something that I want to develop a habit around is drinking a glass of water. Well, I know if I got to wake up in the morning, get out of bed, go to the kitchen, get a cup, fill it up with water, and do all that stuff, the likelihood of me drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning is a lot lower, a whole lot lower. But the night before, if I fill up a glass and I put it next to my bed, then when I wake up in the morning, the glass is already there. Look, I don't know. These are two very simple things that I do. They're not profound, but what they do is they reduce the friction for me to do the habit that I want to do. So I've already set the habit in my mind. I want to exercise and I want to drink more water. Boom. What I've done is I've greatly reduced the friction for me to do those two habits. It's just minimizing the obstacles. They've done a lot of studies around this stuff, and it is profound that if we put things next to us, if we go ahead and prepare things for what we want to do, we are far, far more likely to do them. Like I said, I mentioned about putting the ice cream in the freezer that's in the garage. Well, I can still go out there and get it, but if it's a little bit easier for me to get that mango because it's right in front of my face and it's on the in the freezer that's in the kitchen, then I'm a little bit more likely to make that positive choice. So we can reduce the friction for the habits that we want to maintain. That we know, hey, we're intentional. We know this is a good habit for what we want to do. So we're going to make that habit a little bit easier by reducing the friction. What can you do to reduce the friction for that good positive habit? And see, in the last few episodes, we talked about, one habit that you're going to be starting. So think about that habit. If you missed those episodes, go back and check them out. But that habit that you want for you, your life, your values, to live that life you want to live, that good habit, it's going to help you to improve in that life area that's most important to you, that good habit. What can you do to reduce the friction, make it a little bit easier, more likely that you're going to do that? Now, if you have a different habit, maybe a habit that you want to reduce or stop, friction works both ways. The downside is a lot of times friction works against us because we're not intentional with it. But not anymore, my friend, not for you. See, now you are intentionally going to use friction to your advantage by designing the environment. It's going to help you to be successful. So, how can you add friction to a negative habit, making it a little bit more difficult for you to do? The example could be, getting rid of the junk food in the house. It's a simple one. It's a simple one. It's out of the house. So, you know what? If there's no junk food in the house, at the end of the day, when my self-control is a little bit lower, my willpower is a little bit lower, if there's no junk food in the house, it's a whole lot easier for me to make that call to not eat the junk food because I'm not going to drive to the grocery store right then. No, I'm not feeling it. So what can you do to add a little bit of friction to some of the habits that you want to reduce? It's all about being intentional. Friction is a powerful thing, and it only takes a little bit of friction to help steer choices. So use it to your advantage. Reduce friction for the things that you know would be helpful for you to do, and add a little bit of friction for things that you want to reduce doing. So this is something that John Maxwell talks a whole lot about is creating. It's like crafting this supportive environment. He talks a lot about this for team success, and it also really applies for your own personal growth and your own personal success, for living that life intentionally how you want to live it that's most meaningful to you, is crafting an environment, design the environment so that it's going to support you and help you to make the choices that you want to make. It's powerful. It does take a little bit of work and intentionality, but the ROI on this is huge. Because with a little bit of adjustments, it's gonna be profound. It's gonna be profound. It's like the whole saying about if you take your alarm clock, or if your phone is your alarm clock, and go put it in a different room, and then when you wake up in the morning, you have to walk out of that room and go get it. And if you want to just say get up and get some exercise first thing in the morning, well, forcing yourself to get up and get out of bed to go turn off that alarm, well, now you're already up and moving. And so you've effectively reduced the friction to go get that exercise, because it's a lot different than just reaching over in your bed, turn your alarm off, and you're still in bed nice and cozy and warm. Use friction. Use it to your advantage. I want you to think about creating an environment that supports you and your goals, and seeing this environment by you doing the work to create it, to modify it so that it does support you, your values, and your goals. See this as an act of caring for yourself and showing your values and honoring your values. See, honor your values by intentionally adjusting your environment to support your values and the choices that you want to make. So you're valuing your goals too. If you have goals around health, finances, family, impact in your community, anything that you have goals around, honor those goals and honor your values by using your environment, by being intentional with your environment to help you to act in a way that's going to live out those values and achieve those goals. So here's the action step for today. I want you to take the tiny habit that you're starting, or that you've started by now. So take that tiny habit, and what aspects of your current environment can you adjust to make it easier to perform that habit? Make it a tiny bit easier, just a tiny bit. So we also can do this for a negative habit. If there's another thing that you're trying to remove, what can you do to make it a little bit harder and more inconvenient to do that negative habit? But for that positive habit, that one that you've started and you're trying to sustain, you're trying to maintain it and keep it going, what can you do to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more convenient? Reduce the friction a little bit so that you can be successful at that habit and reap the rewards. What's one small change you can make to your environment this week to support that good, positive habit? What's one change? Just one change that you're going to make to your environment, reducing that friction, making it a little bit easier, a little bit more convenient, so that you can be successful at that new tiny habit. What's that one change? Small tweak, even. Look, your environment plays a crucial role in developing the habits that you have for your life. Design it intentionally. Be intentional with your environment. That's what you have around you, the things, your placement, hey, preparing for you to be able to do that habit. How can you make it easier, more likely, more convenient for you to do that habit? Because your environment has a profound impact on the choices that you make. Design your environment intentionally so that you can make the choices you want to make, live the life that you want to live, claim your day, and just honor your values and have that significance and that impact. It all comes down to the choices you make and your environment. Even small, tiny adjustments to your environment can have a profound impact on the behavior and the choices that you make. All right. What's the one small tweak to your environment that you're going to do this week to support your habit? Think about it. Do it. All right. Here's to you, my friend. Thank you for listening to the Claim Your Day podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. It'd be a great help if you would rate and review it. As always, you can go to nickmazy.com to listen to episodes and read the show notes there, as well as you can share the podcast with somebody so they can get some value out of it too. All right. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again in the next episode.